Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Am I audible to all of you? Yes. Am I audible to all of you? Yes, Panupriya, Preeti. Hello, hello. Very good morning to all of you. Where are others? Yes, please download the Unacademy app because right now I'm going to take the lecture on YouTube, but maybe today or tomorrow I'm going to conduct the lecture on the other platform. Okay, they are considered as a special lecture, so please download that app. Here is my introduction. My name is Harshvardhan Singh, and I'm here to teach you world history, international relation, history optional, along with the economics. On this platform, I'm going to teach you all. So, Unacademy is going to provide you the best online platform. You have a subscription. If you don't have subscription, please have it. And we have two subscription options plus an iconic. I insist you to have iconic because here we are going to provide everything. Yes, and the cost is very low as compared to any other institute. So the best education you are getting, and when you are going to opt for it, you can use my code HarshV10. Okay. So please have it. Yes, so today we are going to discuss the bilateral relation, and the first topic in that, Indo-China. As this topic is so vast, it is not going to complete in the one lecture, but in this lecture we are going to discuss the background of Indochina in detail, and then in the next we are going to make next part of it as well. In the part 2 we are going to discuss the present challenges or the present situation or relations between India and China. We are going to discuss in part 2. So part 1 we are going to understand what's the present and past relation between India and China. As you know that the present situation of China is like this. China is the second largest economy in the world. Of course, US is the first. Second largest economy. Just imagine a country who got their independence. Means after the Chinese Revolution, they got the independence and they established People's Republic of China in 1949, and now they are second largest economy in the world. So it is a tremendous achievement by a country within a small interval of time. Clear? So this is a situation that China is the second largest economy in the world. The second thing, present status, China is a manufacturing hub of the world. You can say that, in other words, people used to call China is considered as a manu- sorry, manufacturing factory of the world. Yes, in other words, it is said that it is a manufacturing factory of the world. So just imagine. So as in the last lecture we mentioned that whatever you want to purchase right now, everything is made up of China. And why it is so? How it is possible? The policies designed by the China in such a manner that led to export-driven economy. Export-driven economy means you have to design the policy in such a manner so that manufacturing is increased in such an extent. That's why China is considered as a manufacturing hub of the world, or in other words, factory of the world. Clear? So, how it is possible? How any country to achieve this growth within a short interval of time? How it is possible? It's possible because of the infrastructural development. China invested huge amount of money in infrastructure development, like development of roads, then ports, railways, then education institution, public health. So they focuses on these aspects of infrastructure development so that their country will emerge as one of the most important power in the world. And how it is possible? Without infrastructure development, this is the very basic thing. Without that development, it's very difficult for any country to grow, and China focuses on that only. When they realizes that they are far behind, because you know that since sorry till 1978, China followed the closed economic policy. The closed kind of economic policy they followed means their market was not open for world. Later on they realizes the problems. Clear? Because of this closed kind of economy, China was not technologically sound. China didn't get a fund from outside, and they realizes no, we have to do something, and that's why they dropped the model which they adopted in 1948. This model was adopted till 1978. 1978. It was followed. Later on, they dropped this model. They started opening their market. They started opening their market. Clear? China started opening their market, and because of that reason, they get huge money, and this huge money is basically invested in infrastructure development. And that's why China, if you compare China and India, both are considered as a developing nation. But do you realize what type of changes China is having? Just look at the China, just look at the Beijing. You will get to know the difference between India and China. As you know that they organized Olympic in 2008, and at that time there was a possibility of rain and all. They developed that technology so to avoid the rain and all. So infrastructure they developed, the China, Beijing, the Shanghai. Yes. So these are the places which are far ahead of India, though we are a developing nation. Why it is so? They focuses on manufacturing, sorry, infrastructural development. Clear? Okay. Next thing, that is we mentioned when it become manufacturing hub, that leads to export driven economy. Means everything they want to sell outside China to earn the profit. And what's their intention? Their intention was basically colonization of market. Their basic intention is colonization of market. Do you really think so? As you're considered as a awakened citizen, enlightened citizen, do you really think so? China is fulfilling this thing, that is, China wants to colonize the market, whether They achieved it. Yes, what do you think? Whether China achieved this thing or not? And what's the use of colonization of the market? Yes, everyone. Anupriya, Preeti, Ashwini, what do you think? Whether China is successful right now in establishing colonization of market, this concept. Yes, Ashwini said yes, they achieved. Ashwini said new colonialism. Okay, so my next question to you, if you think so, if it is yes, they achieved that, then my next question to you is this advancement. How, how? If you said that they achieved the colonization of market, how they achieved? This is my first question to you. And second, what's the impact of it? How, why? Yes, these are the two questions. How they achieved it and why. Yes, Preeti said yes, they did it quite successfully. Okay, I agree with you that China established the market as their colonies. How and why? Ashwini said they made same thing available at the cheap price. Okay, okay. Have you heard about dumping? Have you heard about dumping? So this is the answer for it. Ashwini said that customer buys that only which is profitable for their pocket. Yes, of course. You know that Indians can run the campaign hashtag boycott China with help of Chinese phone only. Clear? How? Dumping. Have you heard about dumping? Yes, exactly. They achieve dumping. Means dumping is manufacturing the things in such a large quantity and sell that product at the cheapest price in the other place. And of course, if you produce more, the prices is definitely going less. Preeti said debt trap diplomacy. Sorry. So, for example, let's take example. If you manufacture one thing for rupees 10, if you manufacture the same thing, don't you think price is going to less than 10? Yes. And if you're manufacturing crores, definitely the price is very low. Maybe it will cost around 1 rupee or 2 rupee. So just imagine earlier you were purchasing the thing at 10 rupee, now you're getting that at 1 rupee. Yes, what Nilesh said, and became the preparer to be captured and market. And yes, 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 exactly, exactly. So when, as Ashwini said, Nilesh said, Priti said, it's the same thing. When they're manufacturing the things at so means large quantity, they are going to dump in the market, and because of that dumping, the prices of that product reduced in such a manner that domestic products domestic products cannot survive in front of them. Let's take example of Indian goods only. Indian goods, very best example of it. Earlier, you know that mm, any particular item, any means for let's take example of battery cell, battery, the remote battery or anything. Do you know that once upon time it will cost around 50 rupees for a sale, but once the entry of Chinese goods, forget about that, forget just it's Diwali season. I just want to mention one more thing, and it is very related with you, all of you, and that is lightning for Diwali. It is also known as series, electrical lightning and all. Earlier, you have to purchase anything, any series, if it is of 10 bulb or 15 bulb, it costs around at least 100 rupees. At least, I'm saying. And now with the entry of Chinese lightning thing, yes, exactly, Ashwin. Chinese lightning thing in 20 rupees. Earlier, it is of 50 bulbs. Now, in 20 rupees, you will get around 200 LED bulb series. Simple. This is the best example. And you know that gradually, you know, if you are, what we can say, quite aware of this thing, or if you can see the market with your naked eyes, you will get to know now there is no scope for this thing in the market. Just Diwali season is there, just go and roam in the market, you will get to know that all the market is grabbed by Chinese lighting. And yes, one more poster is written everywhere. Some of you quite. No guarantee. Yes, it is there. No guarantee. Clear? When bold, it is written in bold so that nobody can claim, okay, I have taken from you only. You're not going to recognize me or not. Okay? So their intention was basically colonization of market, and they did it not just in India but in the world. If you go to USA also, in USA everything is made up of China. Everything is made up means belongs to made in China. And the very best example is of toys. As America produce only toys and known as missiles. US toys are missiles. China produced toys for children. Yes, clear. Now you get it. Almost all the countries in the world are the victim of Chinese product. Clear? And that is known as colonization of market. Why they started export driven economy? Intention was colonization of market, and yes, they succeeded in that. Right now our condition is like that in India. I'm telling you, whatever the campaign was going on, hashtag and banning the apps and all, it is not going to work. Clear? Our situation right now is that we cannot compete with them in the price issue. They are producing the things at the cheapest price, and we cannot compete. Our most of the materials is totally dependent on China. And very best example, recently there was the trade hashtag boycott Chinese product and all. And because of that reason, some of you quite aware of the pharma industry, the prices of medicines increase. And why it is so? Because China was supplying raw material. Have you ever seen any capsule? Any capsule? So whatever the outer thing in that capsule, that raw material is basically we imported from China. Clear? So now you get it. Why the prices increase. Okay, so they are successful in that. Next, present situation. China is very aggressive in nature nowadays. Yes, exactly, Nilesh. Exactly. Aggressiveness. Why China is so angry? Aggressive in all terms. In terms of economy, they are aggressive. In terms of military, they are aggressive. Why it is so? Because they want to establish themselves as a superpower. That's their intention. They want to establish themselves as a superpower, and this Chinese aggressiveness is visible in many contexts. For example, for example, South China Sea. You know the South China Sea? In South China Sea, they had a dispute with the neighboring country. They want to establish, yes, exactly. They want to establish their supremacy. In South China Sea, China is having problem with the neighboring state, and China followed the aggressive policy, and one of the best example of it is China Philippines dispute. And the main intention here is not just a strategy. Strategic is important. Strategic is one of the aspect. Another important aspect is energy. Cold War 2.0, US China. Yes, it's basically it is always there. That's why we mentioned when we discuss the NAM, we mentioned whether NAM is relevant or not. We said that it is the end of Cold War, but it doesn't mean end of conflict. So whenever conflict is there, NAM will be there. It is the same thing. Earlier there was Russia versus USA, means USSR versus USA. Now China versus USA. Earlier Cold War was basically means was a war of ideology. Now it is not at all the case. It is a war to establish supremacy over the world. USA is a champion, and China wants to grab that position. Clear? So this aggressiveness is very visible in this context. Clear? How can we forget Chinese aggressiveness in our territory? Do you remember that China entered into India and stayed? We lost our soldiers. China entered into our territory and we lost our soldiers. There is a huge debate was going on. We killed their soldiers as well. But what is not at all the question. The question is we lost our soldiers. 20 soldiers. Just imagine what happened with their family. Along with that, China entered into India and they stayed in our area. they are still in India. That is a matter of concern, and why they are doing so, because they want to pressurize India as well. This aggression is basically there to pressurize that country to follow the policy dictated by China. This is happening in South China Sea. This is happening with the India, and this is happening with the other countries. So it is a direct aggressiveness of China. Clear? Physical aggressiveness we can mention. The another aggressiveness China is following through economic route, like sorry, like yes everyone, like as we mentioned, physically China adopted aggressive nature. Economic route, how they? Yes, please, I'm waiting for your answer. When the question is simple, you are responding like that you are in KBC and you are playing the fastest finger first option. But when I ask some difficult question, it's like that you are sitting in an examination hall and you know nothing, just like in your college days. Dumping, as you said earlier, no, no, no. Dumping, as I said, other thing, it's a aggressiveness. No, economic route are different. Economy is not just about manufacturing goods. Debt trap, yes, buying shares in Indian company, raw material from the medicine stopped by them to India. Yes, yes, exactly, exactly, it is the same. But I'm not talking about India only. This, when we mention about the present status of China, we are going to discuss about the China. Do not get confused that we are just talking here about this aspect only. Yes, debt trap diplomacy, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, you just mentioned, but you didn't mention what exactly the debt trap diplomacy. Yes, Nilesh, you said the debt trap buying shares in Indian company. And all. This economic route is, you know, that China is supporting infrastructure development of the countries. China is supporting the infrastructure development of the countries, like the best example is Pakistan. Pakistan always been a case which always ask for fund. हमेशा कटोरा लेके ही रहेंगे. Why it is so? Why it is so? Pakistan is having this situation because Pakistan followed the fundamentalism, and fundamentalism always have a backward looking approach. Clear? So this is the case, that is Pakistan, as China is building roads in Pakistan. China is supporting them. Another example, Sri Lanka. You know that one port is going to develop by China. Yes, Nilesh said that helping underdeveloped countries like Sri Lanka. Yes, exactly. Yes, Preeti, exactly. In Africa. So, do you know one port in Sri Lanka, one port in Pakistan is built by China? Do you know the name of it? As Nilesh said, that Tincomalai. Okay. Yes. Do you know that one port is built in Sri Lanka with help of China? Yes, Preeti, exactly. Hambantota is a port built in Sri Lanka with help of China, and if you know the location of it, you will get to know that it is not there to help Sri Lanka, but it is there to circle encircle India. And if suppose if they are not going to pay that much amount of money, then China is going to take control of that port. And in Pakistan, yes, Gwadar port, yes, exactly. And if you know the location of Gwadar port, it is very near. Yes, Gwadar in Pakistan, it is very near to Iranian port, which is developed with help of India. And one more example of this economic route aggression is One Belt, One Road. This is also known as PRI. Yes, Nilesh, exactly. String of pearls. Why they are supporting, why they want to encircle. Very good. So now you get it. Chinese aggression, aggressive policy all over the world. It is just because they want to be a superpower, and for that they try to increase their influence either physically or economically or through various international platforms. Yeah, Ashwini said that Jawahar Port is the name of that port. Okay, but I think so. One name is the name is quite different. Maybe in present times we can change the name of any place anytime. Just our one person is there who can think. कल से तुम्हारा नाम बदल दिया. Maybe it happened. Clear? Next, China challenges Eurocentric economy. And how it is possible? Because of all these things. Because of all these things, China is in position. Yes, Chabar Port in English, exactly. The name of that port is Chabar Port. Chabar Port is in Iran and Gwadar Port is in Pakistan. They are near to each other, and China wants to control India's relation with the Iran. That's why they supported that port, Gwadar Port. So because of all these things, that is second largest economy, manufacturing hub, infrastructure development, export driven economy, colonization of market, aggressiveness, these all makes China a strong power, and because of that China challenges US centric economy. Clear? So basically it's a battle between China and USA, not India and China. And why China is in aggressive nature? Because recent development in Indo-US relation worried China. and why USA cut off their ties to some extent with the Pakistan, because Pakistan supporting the China's claim, and along with that Pakistan not at all in a position to deal with the China. The only country which can deal with the China right now is India. So that's why closeness developed with USA and China doesn't like it. So till this point, any question? Yes, till this point, any question? I know all of you are so angry with the China, since you want to take revenge, but it should not be the case. Yes, we all are angry because of COVID-19. Clear? Yes, everything is clear to all of you? Very good. Now, we are going to discuss Indo-China relation. What exactly the relation past till present? As we share around 4,000 kilometer border with the China, around, why their tourism isn't strong? I I didn't get your question, Ashwini. Just try to reframe in other word. Means, do you want to say that why Chinese tourist industry is not growing well? Is that the case? You want to ask? Just reframe the question. Okay, okay. Now get it. Now I get it. Why? And yes, of course, very good question she asked. As China is so powerful, economically so powerful, so strong, then why not Chinese tourist industry grew very well? Very simple. First thing, language. First thing is language problem. And why it is so? Because China followed the rigorous policy of native language. Clear? They opposes the other languages. But nowadays they modified themselves, but still the problem is that Mandarin is a language, and other countries, means mostly we can say that English is an international language. And in China very few people knew English. Why India is a favorite destination? Because if you ask anybody anything in English, at least that person can respond yes or no. It's just like yes, yes, yes. Do you know Taj Mahal? Yes, yes. Where is? Here, no. There, yes. So at least you can communicate. But in China, this is the problem. That is linguistic. That is language problem is there. That is the first thing. First problem. Second thing, that it's a communist government. It's a communist government, and they suppressed the things. Means basically, and in short, communist government now it is a dictatorship. Now it is a dictatorship in China, elected dictatorship. And how it is so? Because our beloved 11 Jinping, yes, Xi Jinping is now president for life. That means he became the dictator. So earlier also this was the case, that communist government was there, so suppression of rights was there. If something happened with you, or if you express anything against that government in that country, definitely you have to pay the price for that. That is also the problem. Clear? Language is the first problem. Government is another problem. And the third thing, that if you go to China, you will get to surprise that there is no Google, no Facebook, etc. No Twitter. And you're like, what? Nothing? How can we survive? They have their own version of it. Clear? So these are some factors. These are some factors which are responsible that China didn't develop herself as an tourist hub. You know why Singapore is very famous? Singapore is totally dependent on tourism industry. Language. Adaptation. Clear? Even the Hong Kong is more famous destination than China because of adaptation. They adopted the language, they learned the language and made that area accessible for the tourist. Clear? Now, clear everyone? But recently China is also thinking over it. Don't worry. So because of that reason, people try to find out new things, and so that's why they considered China as their destination. Okay. And one more thing, mostly Indians are not happy with China, so that's why they don't place visit to China, because the enmity was there and all. Clear? Next, Indo-China relation. Next thing, as India shares around, the word is around, actually it was around 3,400 something, so around 4,000-kilometer border with China. As you know that it is the second largest. India share China, that is China is the second largest country which shares border with India, and first one is of course Bangladesh. The first one is Bangladesh. Bangladesh shares the largest border with India. The second country which shares the largest border with India, that is China. Okay. As you know that when the two countries are sharing the borders, with each other, don't you think so they will have a border problem? Let's take example of yours. If you have sibling, maybe brother sister, sister sister, brother brother. If you have a sibling and your parent asks you to share room and bed with your sibling, it's a usual thing, you have a conflict with her or him. Don't you think so? It's a very common thing. It's very common thing, and because of that conflict, a final authority that your parent is going to decide, your parents are going to decide who is suffering, who is going to take the punishment. It's very common. Why? Higher authority is there. So always remember, when there, if it is the case with with our blood relation. China is not a blood relation with us. We share the border, and you know that there was no nation state concept earlier. Previously, there was no nation state concept, so borders were not like that based on language. Borders were based on one particular prince, kingdom, or anything rule, and it was based on assumption. Means in Hindi it is said that 19 20 का फर्क. It is just a difference of 90-20. Clear? How it is so? Because geographically, if one river is flowing from this area to this area, and this area belongs to India, suppose this village belongs to India, and suppose this river change its course. This river change its course. River, what we mentioned, river is considered as a border. And if this river change its course from here to here, now in which area village comes? Right now in China. Earlier it was India. So such type of practical problems are always there. Because earlier geographically we divided the territories. Now territories are divided on the basis of nation state, and that leads to conflict. This is the one factor. Another factor is also there, economic factors. Clear? Strategic factors are also important. So what happened when we share around 4,000 kilometer border and there was no clear-cut border or distinction between India and China? Clear? Why it is so? We mentioned China was under monarchy. China was under monarchy and India was under British rule. And at present, neither British rule is there, neither monarchy is there. These are newly independent state and they are nation state. Nation state. Yes. So both the countries are nation state. They are having their vested interest, and because of this vested interest, they are having dispute over the issue of border. Okay. So this is the case. How India started its relation with the new China. This China is basically known as People's Republic of China. As you know that Chinese Revolution happened in 1949, and because of that China, a new nation state, that is People's Republic of China, came into reality. And India was one of the first country which recognizes the establishment of People's Republic of China. This People's Republic of China is basically communist government. In 1949, and do you know that it was a period of Cold War? So of course USA was against China. UK was against China. So these are the capitalist bloc which opposes the formation of communist government. Clear? But India, as you know that India always pursue the policy of peace, and we do not want any enmity with our neighboring state. So that's why India welcomed the state of formation of China as a communist country. So we recognize them. Next thing, that is India led the movement. Even sorry, excuse me. India did a wonderful job for China as well. Why? Because we pursue the policy of peace and we don't want enmity, and the result of that is here. India led a movement to end the isolation of China, and that resulted into restoration of membership of UNSC. When in 1944 United Nations formed, in that United Nations you know that one body is known as UNSC, United Nations Security Council. and there are P5 permanent 5 member. One is France, another is Britain, another is Russia, then USA, and the last one was China. But in 1949, the revolution occurred and China divided into two. I'm going to explain it how China is going to divide it in World History lecture. Clear? So they divided into two, and one was People's Republic of China and other was Republic of China. So this gets the membership here, and this doesn't have. India supported the PRC, that is People's Republic of China, and because of that reason, when UN Security Council ended their, or we can say UN Security Council, when they started to become a more democratic, they included PRC, People's Republic of China, and India supported their claim. Because of India only, it is the end of isolation of communist China. Don't you think so? It's godly behavior of a country like India. Yes, India. Next, but the relation with the China changed in the latter phase, and why it is so? Because as we mentioned, the border issues were there. The first example, border issues were there, and one more thing happened, and that is related with Tibet. Tibet, as you know about India, is here. Tibet is here and China is here. So it was a case that Tibet was basically in between China and India. India never had an intention to capture Tibet because they want Tibet to be buffer between China and India. But China occupied it. How, when, others. This issue we are going to discuss in the next slide. Clear? So India's relation with the China changed with the time. Next. Now we are going to discuss how India's relation became sore over some issues, and basically Tibet is one of them. As I mentioned, Tibet was an independent country and acted as a buffer between India and China. Tibet is a land of spirituality. Spirituality and Buddhism is their religion. Clear? Their religious leader, that is Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama was head of the states. Clear? A very peaceful country was there. Britishers never tried to occupy it as well. They kept it at a spiritual land. Next thing, in 1914-15, at Shimla, there was a conference in Shimla Convention. Shimla Convention was there. British government wants to demarcate the borders. British government wants to demarcate the borders between the neighboring states. So that's why at Shimla, British government, that is British India, invited the Tibet, the representative of Tibet, as well as representative of China to attend the conference, attend this convention. And why it is so? To demarcate borders. To demarcate borders. And this demarcation, the outcome of this convention was basically McMahon line. McMahon line, ये आपने कभी नाम सुना होगा. This name is very famous, very popular. McMahon line. Clear? So in this Simla conference, there was agreement between British India, China, and Tibet. British India, China, and Tibet, and they resolved their borders, and they resolved or demarcate their borders. So problem was basically solved, and that is basically McMahon line. Because of this McMahon line, Arunachal Pradesh is a part of India. Clear? What happened now? People's Republic of China rejected the McMahon line, and why they rejected? Because they said that in this Shimla Convention they were not there. Means PRC, People's Republic of China, was absent, and if we were not there, then why should we accept? When People Republic of China was not present, so it is not acceptable. And when China refused to accept the border line, it is a bone of contention between India and China since then. It doesn't mean that you were not there, so you are not going to follow the agreement. If it is the case in present times, it will create a huge problem. No? You know that where India took a huge loan from Japan to build bullet train in India. And just imagine, after 50 years, India is going to refuse to pay. They said that, okay, I was not there. Modi ji was there. Why should I pay? When he signed the contract, why should I pay? So it should not be the case. Please remember, when you are a sovereign country and this sovereign country is having institution, so either you are present or not, it doesn't matter. What matter is a guarantee that whatever may be the next person, that person is going to pay. But China refused that, and that creates a problem. What happened? After China becoming a nation state, the communist country, they tried to expand their territory. See how much greedy they are. You know that China, they are having vast land. Still they want. And one of the reason of grabbing China, means there were many reasons. Means when they captured Tibet, the first important is strategic location. With the Tibet, they can control India. It is one of the thing. Another important thing, that is, as you know that China, means the earlier one, China except Tibet is facing water scarcity. They do not have that much water reserve, and Tibet is having water resources. You know that Brahmaputra. Then Indus. Clear? So that is also the intention, to grab the water resources, water reservoir, because Tibet is full of that. So China occupied Tibet. China in 1950s. China occupied Tibet and India recognized it. Some political thinkers, or we can say historian, criticizes India over it. Why it is so? Because they thought when India recognized it means it gives full freedom for China into that territory. Because if the neighbor is not going to question the aggression, if neighbor is not having problem with that aggression, then why the other people are having problem? Clear? So they criticized that if you allow the China, then China is definitely going to expand more. Tibet was a buffer between India and China. So now Chinese threat is a direct to India. So such type of criticism was there. But at that time, when we followed this policy, when we recognized it, at that time we thought that we do not want any enmity with the neighbors, as in this time Indian economy was not that much good because of the colonial past, and our focus was mostly on development. Our focus was mostly on development, and we knew that if we are fighting with our neighbors, and already know that we had a war with the Pakistan, and Pakistan became our enemy country. We don't want one more enemy in the neighborhood, so we recognized the state in 1954. We recognized it in 1954. Now, in 1959, there was a Tibetan uprising. Of course, anyone can do that. Anyone can. Because once upon a time, it was their independent nation state. The country was independent, and now Chinese were foreigner for them. China ruled. China tried to impose Chinese culture over them. Tibetans were having different culture. Chinese were having different culture, and China tried to impose their culture, and that's why there was a huge discontent among the people. People reacted, and that led to revolt. And this revolt in 1959 against the China, that that Tibet was a spiritual place. And when China uses their force, they were not in a position to tackle China, and resultant of that, the Dalai Lama fled from China and took refuge in India. So that since 1959, Dalai Lama uh, is an Indian guest, and this made China angry. Why it is so? Because China considered him as an enemy. China considered Dalai Lama as an enemy, and China is angry over India because you said that you are not going to interfere in the internal matter of any country. Why you interfere in the matter of China? Clear? So it is very simple. We followed the policy of non-aggression, and here we mentioned that what we mentioned. So basically, do you really think so that India invaded China? Sorry, India interfered in their internal matter? No. We do not support the Tibetan movement. What we did, Dalai Lama took refuge. Dalai Lama is a Buddhist spiritual head, and India is a land of Buddha, so we cannot say no. So that's why he is Indian guest. And because of that attitude, China was angry with India, and the resultant of that, we know that in 1962 we had a war with China over border dispute, as well as this dispute is also there. Another important factor, as we mentioned, the Tibet is a problem which soured the relation between India and China. Another important factor is basically the Sino-Pak nexus. Another important thing is Sino-Pak nexus. China is also known as Sino. After Indo-Pak War of 1965, China started developing a sympathy towards Pakistan. And from then onwards, China supported the claim of Pakistan over Jammu and Kashmir. As we know that India defeated China bitterly in the war of 1965. And after that, China developed sympathy over Pakistan and they supported the Pakistan claim over Jammu and Kashmir. Why? Why so? Why so much sympathy? Always remember, China is not following the policy of foreign relation based on emotion. There should have some aspect of it. Clear? I'm going to explain that. Another thing, China also supported Pakistan's nuclear program. Are they mad? Pakistan is a fundamentalist country. If you're supporting them right now, maybe they can use that weapon against you only. That's a problem. That's why we said that we don't want Pakistan to have a nuclear weapon, because weapon should have a safe hand. It's a responsibility. Clear? But China, for their own gain, supported nuclear program. Clear? Next, why China was so much affection with the Pakistan? Because of this. Pakistan surrendered the territory of Jammu Kashmir, namely Askai Chin, as it is an integral part of India. Have you heard clearly? Here is Pakistan. Here is China. And here is India. Pakistan surrender India's territory to China. Pakistan surrender India's territory to China. Who gave them the authority? Who gave them the authority? But as you know that in 1948, 1947-48, when we had a war with the Pakistan, at that time Pakistan occupied some area of Jammu and Kashmir. Some area of Jammu and Kashmir they occupied, and this occupied area they transferred to China. And now you're getting why China is supporting them, because they in return they got Askai Chin, and this is also an bone of contention between India and China. Askai Chin is the area which is not inhabited by anyone, means it is a cold desert. It's cold desert, but strategically it is important because through Askai Chin, China, Tibet, when China wants to build a road to Tibet, that road That road was basically transferred to that area, a sky chain. Clear? That's why they pampered Pakistan so much, because they got this area in return of that. Next, next, Indo-China relation becomes sore or another issue. First issue, what we mentioned about Tibet. First issue we mentioned about Tibet. Another issue we mentioned about Askai chain. And now the other issue were also there. That is issue of Sikkim. Some of you are thinking like, what's the issue with the Sikkim? Sikkim is an integral part of India. Yes, of course. But if you go through the polity book, you will get to know that Sikkim initially was an independent nation. Independent nation. Then the second step, during the time of Indira Gandhi, she made Sikkim as the associate state of India, and finally the merger with India. And how it possible? Because Sikkim shared the border with the China, and China, Sikkim realizes how they grab Tibet. They don't want to be victim of this colonialism. So that's why Sikkim followed a good policy, and because of that Sikkim became integral part, and China condemns the merger of Sikkim with India. They said that this is cheating. You didn't give us an opportunity to grab. We said that we are not so full. Initially, we thought that after getting Tibet you will be happy, but we read history. We also read the policy of appeasement. So we decided not to have it. Clear? So India right now followed the practical approach, and we realized Sikkim should be the next thing. So we convinced the Sikkim, and Sikkim became an integral part of India. 1974, there was a Pokhran test, as we mentioned, the smiling Buddha, and China opposes that thing. They said that how you develop. We said that you develop, so we develop. Doctrine of Mad is also working. Next, China started anti-India propaganda on the all platform. Wherever China gets the opportunity to oppose the India, China started that thing. Clear? Just to malign the image of India in world context. Clear? So just think about it. If you are doing some good work and your neighbor is continuously blaming that you are useless, you are doing something wrong, you are not good person, don't you think so it irritates you? Yes, it happened with India as well. It irritates us. That's why we didn't develop a good relation with China for a long time, just to avoid this madness. But so if we conclude, since 1958, China seen us, that is India, as a principal geographical rival. Principal geographical rival, and China and India is having three sides of dispute, border dispute. One is the western part, another is the central part, and then is the eastern part. You know that here is like it is kind of our map. Clear? Here is Jammu and Kashmir, everybody knew about. We have a problem with China in this area. This is the western side. Askai Chin is the best example of that. Askai Chin. Yes, they have a problem with Uttarakhand as well. they have a problem. China is having problem with Uttarakhand as well. Then here is a central part. You know that recently problem Doklam. This is a problem with Bhutan. This is a problem with Bhutan, but as Bhutan doesn't have any foreign relation with China, so Bhutan through India deal with the China. Clear? Along with that, they have a problem with the Sikkim. They have a problem with Sikkim over this area. Over this area, this is Chicken Neck. We know that. And they have a problem with this area known as Arunachal Pradesh. Earlier, this Arunachal Pradesh was known as Nepal, Northeast Frontier Agency. Clear? So India and China is having problem in three area. One is the western area, we mentioned as Kaichi. Another is Sikkim, Doklam, basically the Chicken Neck we mentioned about that in that area. And finally they have a problem with the Nepal. You know that they are so mad in that if you're a person from any of these three area, China doesn't issue visa to them. They issue staple visa. And it is just because India opposes it rigorously, so that's why they sometimes they convince, sometimes they not. When Arunachal Pradesh CM wants to visit China, China said that why you required visa? You're just visiting your own country. And Arunachal Pradesh CM like, are you mad? I took the oath of Constitution of India. I'm integral part of Constitution of India. They said that okay, it's okay, but we consider that part is yours. And CM is like, you can consider anything, it's your choice, but reality is different. Clear? So such kind of thing is that if a person from here, they said that there is no required of visa. So staple visa means you have a passport. They are not going to enter anything in your passport. One another paper is there in that they can mention. So if you want to burn that paper, there is no mention that you visited China in your passport, and that creates a problem. So India opposes this move of China. Clear, everyone? Next, as we mentioned the bitterness, but we also change our attitude towards China. We also change our attitude towards China, and it was a necessity of the time, and the resultant of that is diplomatic restoration of relations. Diplomatic restoration of relation at ambassador level. Clear? Next thing, in 1981, both sides resumed the border talks. It's important. It's really important if you want to solve the problem. Have a talk, have a chat with that person. It is an individual thing as well. If any person is having problem with you, if you really want to resolve that, just have a chat with that person. It is the same thing. But if you're not going to chat with that person, do you really think so problem is going to sort out? It's not going to sort out. The problem remains there. So that's why we don't want the problem to be continued. We want a peaceful relation with China. And why it is so? Because of the enmity, we have to focus more on defense. We have to allot more fund for that. So it will save that money. Clear? So in 1981, both sides resumed the border talks. The historic step taken by our Prime Minister, that is Rajiv Gandhi, was there. He visited China, and with that visit, China recognizes Sikkim as an integral part of India. So there is no issue at all between India and China over the Sikkim. Next, next we started a new initiative, that is border issues referred to special representative mechanism. Means as the trade relation is going on between India and China, border dispute should be resolved, and for that reason there is another track where people, or especially what we can say, the diplomats are going to resolve by continuously meeting with each other, negotiating with each other, and they are going to solve this problem. So this is the case right now between India and China, that is there is a special representative mechanism to resolve the border dispute. In 2005, in 2005 there was designing of guiding principle for resolving border dispute. Means how you are going to resolve when guideline principles are written, and through this mechanism you are going to sort out the problem between India and China. And because of this, because of all of these efforts, there is trade increase in the trade tremendously. The word is tremendously. Clear? Because we showed positive aspect, the same way China is also showing that, and China realizes India is a potential market for them. Whatever the border disputes are there, we are going to resolve that with the diplomacy. And India realizes the same thing, that if we want a raw material at the cheapest price, we have to depend on China. So just started building a good relation with China. And because of all these measures, the trading relation with China increased tremendously, and we replaced US with China as the largest trading partner. And you know that India-China trade is having trade deficit for India. Means we trade deficit with China means we sell a product of 100 rupees, but at the same time China is sending the product of 1000 rupees. This 900 gap was there, and this is known as trade deficit. And this trade deficit is with India, and this 900 profit is earning by China. So for China it is trade surplus. Yes, everyone, any question, any doubt till now? Because we already discussed means everything in the background. We already discussed everything in the background. In the part second, we are going to discuss the real aspects. Basically, as I mentioned earlier also, BRI. That along with the BRI, or one belt, one road, we are going to discuss that. Clear? Along with that, Chinese aggressive policy, we are going to discuss that. So there are many aspects of it. We are going to discuss that. So till now, any question, any query, is that clear to all of you? Yes, everyone? Is it clear to all of you? Yes, Nilesh, Preeti, Ashwini. Is there any question, any query? No doubt at all. How smart you all are. Sometimes I'm really wondered how it is possible that no one is having any doubt. Are you too smart? Bhanupriya, doubts are clear. Oh my god. Such a brilliant student. I'm really fortunate that I found all of you. No doubt, no questions. See? I was not like you when I was student. I was so dumb. I always have a question. Yes, so That's all for today's lecture. Yes, that's all for today's lecture. Thank you very much for your valuable time. Oh, yes. And and those who are having any question, and if they are not in a position to ask, then please let me know. I'm available on social platform as well. So I'm repeating this again and again. That is, this is my Telegram channel where you can connect with me, or I'm available on other social media platform as well. You can find it out me. And if you're having any query, please let me know. Thank you very much for your valuable time. Tomorrow we are going to continue. Yes, everyone. One more thing. Tomorrow we are not going to take a second part of Indo-China relation. Tomorrow we are going to take Indo-Nepal and Indo-Bhutan. Yes, introduction to that part as well. Clear? This Indo-China part we are going to discuss after Diwali. Yes. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Take care. Relation, history optional, as well as other parts of history along with economics. Those who haven't taken subscription, I appeal to you, please take the subscription of Unacademy. It will help you a lot. It provides you the best guidance in India at the low cost. We have option 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. Please take the subscription for a year. We have the two option, plus as well as iconic. In plus and iconic, if you want to take subscription, you can use this code Harshvardhan. You will get the 10% discount at the same time. Clear? In the iconic, we are going to provide you everything, including the personal guidance. Now we're coming back to our main topic, that is unification of Italy. In the last lecture, we discussed about unification of Italy from 1815 to 1848. A quick recap of last lecture. What happened? 1815, there was a Vienna Order, and the Vienna Order is having three aspects: BOP, legitimate rule, and one more thing we mentioned, that is rewarding victor. Clear? So this Vienna Order made threefold injustice, with Italian people. How it is so? We mentioned this threefold like this. The first, that is destroy political unity. Destroyed the political unity of Italy. The second we mentioned, that is Austrian dominance. Austrian dominance established over Italian peninsula. And the third we mentioned, that except Sardinia, peninsula was under foreign dominance. Yes, we mentioned that. How Vienna Order made a threefold injustice. It destroyed its political unity. Yes. Second, we mentioned Austrian dominance over Italian peninsula. And third, presence of foreign player all over the peninsula except Piedmont and Sardinia. We mentioned that. Clear? Next important thing we mentioned in the last lecture, that is Revolution Second, that is Revolution of 1830. It was successful in France, but when the popular revolt broke out in Sardinia under Mazzini, and his Young Italy movement, the revolt was suppressed by Metternich system. So it yielded no result. Then we mention about one more thing, Revolution Third of 1848. In that also, Russia, Sardian nationalist, Italian nationalist, pursued the Sardinian king to revolt against Austria. And as I told you in last lecture, it was end of Metternich system, but still Austria is a most important power, and because of that reason Austria suppressed this revolt, and the resultant of that is new king, new chief minister, new king Victor Emmanuel we mentioned, new chief minister Kaur we mentioned, but the new challenges as well as old challenges remain the same. Old challenges, old enemy remains the same. France, Papal State and Austria. At the same time, new challenge was there, that is economic revival. That's the important. Clear? So this we all discussed in the last lecture. So basically from 18, or we can mention the 1796 to 1848, the problems remain the same. Clear? Enemy remains the same. Here, as we mentioned, the north portion was under Austria, central Papal State, and this under France. Okay. Now we are moving towards another aspect of it. As we mentioned, when Kaur assumed the power, as soon as he started, means he assumed the power in 1848, as soon as he started economic revival of Sardinia, because he knew that if you want to fight with any country, then your economy should be strong. Economy should be strong, and without that it is not possible. So that's why he focuses on industrialization. Clear? Along with that, he also started strengthening the army. That is also the thing, strengthening armed forces. So from his side, he started taking initiative to become economically powerful as well as military wise also powerful. Clear? So it was an initiative taken by him. But you know that Sardinia was weak as compared to any state. So Sardinia doesn't have any option. They have only option, that is to wait for appropriate time. And this appropriate time is provided in the form of Crimean War. Crimean War in 1854. What was it exactly? That is, this area was basically earlier the part of Ottoman Empire. It was a part of Ottoman Empire, and you know that during the 19th century, the beginning of fall of Ottoman Empire. So this Crimea, this area was under Ottoman Empire, and you know that during the medieval times, when there was a concept of empire, it always have multi-linguistic group, multi-ethnic group, multi-religious group. Yes. So it is the case with the Ottoman Empire as well. How it is so? As you know that Ottoman Empire, this empire was a part of Ottoman Empire was a part of Asia plus Europe. So it is having both Muslims Muslim shrine plus Christian shrine. Clear? Muslim shrines as well as Christian shrines. So what happened with the decline of, or with the disintegration process started of Ottoman Empire, this Crimean area was basically under the part of Ottoman Empire. Now it is no more the part of Ottoman Empire. Now the question emerged here is, who is going to control the holy places? Means the churches were there, who is going to control these holy places? There were two views. One view is presented by Greek monk, other view is presented by Latin monk. As the word monk is there, definitely they are not going to fight a battle. Yes, they are not going to fight the battle. But as the monk word is there, so we can understand that at least they should have some courtesy to sort out this problem by discussion and debate, not by war. But as you know that once the madness is over you, you are not going to think any positive aspect. So that's why this Greek monk was supported by Russia. Russia came into support of Greek monk, and the same way Latin monk was supported by Britain and France. So the issue started over who is going to control the holy shrines, holy places, now became a political issue. So basically what happened here? On one side Russia, on other side Britain plus France. So if you have a common sense, then you can use it, and after using it you will get to know who is going to emerge as a victor, Russia or Britain and France. So of course logical answer is basically Britain and France, the largest colonial power of that time. And how they established the colonial power? Because of strong army, strong navy. Clear? So the result of that war is of course defeat of Russia. As we can guess it, he was a coward. Kaur was a diplomat. Kaur realizes this thing, that who is going to emerge as a victor, and that is Britain and France. So without asking anyone, means no one, neither Britain asked for help, neither France asked for help, Sardinia supported Britain and France because he knew that who is going to emerge as a victor, Britain and France. So after the war, result was victory of Latin monk, that is fall of Russia, and victory of Britain and France. And you know that after every war there is a one thing common, that is after every war one thing is common, that is treaty. So treaty is there to provide peace. Treaty, the purpose of treaty is to provide peace. And how peace prevail? By recognizing, by accepting the terms and conditions. Because without recognition, without accepting, treaty is not going to fulfill the aspect of peace. Clear? So treaty is there for that reason. So Treaty of Paris was signed in 1856 after the end of Crimean War. So invitation is given to all, either you're a victor country or you are a loser country. And you know that why it is so? Because every participant should have a right to express his or her views. Why they participated, why they think this is right. Clear? So it's everybody's right to express their views, and because of that invitation is given to all, victor as well as loser. As you know that Sardinia supported Britain and France, so that's why invitation is given to Sardinia. And of course Kaur was very, what we can say, Kaur was a diplomat as well as very practical person. He knew that in this war or in this treaty Sardinia is not getting anything in terms of physical aspect. Means Sardinia is not going to get any land, neither they are going to get war repression or anything. But still he supported that. And why it is so? Because he want to utilize Sardinia under Cahors, want to take advantage of Treaty of Paris. He want to utilize this opportunity. So Cahors, he himself presented the case of Sardinia in front of the people. So who participated in Treaty of Paris? Basically, of course, Russia was there. Then Austria was there. Along with that, Britain was there. France was there. So these were the main countries. Sorry, sorry, this is not it. Russia was there, Britain was there, France was there. So at that time, these countries were more powerful countries of that time. And now, just imagine they are there. So how he utilized the opportunity? He presented his case in front of everybody, and he tell them that Italian speaking people want unification, but Austria opposed it. But Austria opposed it. It's the will of people, and Austria opposed unification. So basically, when we considered, here was a Sardinia, here was Austria, and here is the area of Italy. So basically, it was a local issue. At that time, it was a local issue between Sardinia and Austria. Cahors made that issue international because he presented on international platform, and he shows the severity sufferings of Italian speaking people under Austro-Hungarian Empire, and because of that reason it gained sympathy from Britain and France. Britain, they directly say that if people want unification, if people want unification, then Britain support it. So in one way, Sardinia made Britain neutral. Clear? In one way, Sardinia made Britain neutral. At the same time, Sardinia wants more help from France. France also shows sympathy, but you know that in the unification, Austria was a main impediment because Austria controlled the major part of it. Papal state was there. So to defeat Austria, it was not possible for Sardinia alone. What Sardinia wants? Sardinia wants a strong support from France. But France, why France is going to support? Why France is going to support? If they have any hidden interest or vested interest is there, then only they are going to support. Clear? So France was not in a position to support because France don't find anything interested in that. So what happened? What happened? In 1858, there was a Pact of Plombaris. But before that Pact of Plombaris, as I mentioned, Italian speaking people want more concrete support from France, and France refused to do that. So that's why one Italian revolutionary person attempted to assassinate Napoleon III. And you know that he threw 3 bombs, and still Napoleon saved. Somehow he managed to save his life. Italian revolutionary threw the bomb, and somehow Napoleon saved his life, but it had a deep impact over Napoleon. Along with that, that revolutionary person wrote a letter, and this letter is full of patriotism, and he pleaded that I know I'm going to die, you're going to hang me, but but please support our unification, because without your support it is not going to happen. And along with that, he indirectly threatened that The one among them, there are many. Clear? So it was a kind of the letter with full of patriotism, full of energy, and that letter suggests that there is a need of support to Sardinia. So because of this, Napoleon changed his approach towards the unification of Italy. Because of this incident, he changed his attitude towards unification, and Cavour took this opportunity. Had a separate, or sorry, Cavour had a secret meetings with Napoleon. Cavour convinced Napoleon that please support us. So Napoleon said that it's okay, I'm going to support. What will I get? That is also important. I'm not here for charity. What I want something concrete from you. So Cavour, Cavour said that okay, let's have a pact. And that pact is basically Pact of Lombards. It was a secret pact between France and Sardinia, and in this pact, Cavour agreed to surrender the two provinces of Sardinia, Nice and Savoy here. The Nice and Savoy to France. Cavour surrendered these two provinces, but in return, France has to support Sardinia to get two provinces. One is Lombardy, another is Venetia. So here it is mentioned. Under this agreement, France will get Nice and Savoy, the two territories, the two provinces of Sardinia. In return, France is going to support Sardinia to capture Venetia and Lombardy. Clear? Next. Now, after that, Peace of Villafranca in 1859. But before that, the background is there. As we mentioned, Pact of Lombards was signed. France is agreed to wage a war with Austria. Means France and Sardinia combinedly going to attack Austria. So it was a secret pact between France and Sardinia, that is Pact of Lombards. And because of that pact, the war broke out between Austria and Sardinia. The combined forces of France and Sardinia defeated Austria. Combined forces of France and Sardinia defeated Austria and captured Lombardy. Now Lombardy became part of Sardinia. Clear? But after that, France realizes Nice and Savoy are very small provinces, and it's not better for France to take enmity with Austria for these two petty provinces. So because of that, France unilaterally retreated from that war. France unilaterally retreated from the war, and this created a dilemma in front of Sardinia. What to do? There were two views. One is of Victor Emmanuel and other is of Cavour. Cavour wants continuation of war. Cavour wants continuation and Victor Emmanuel wants to retreat. And why it is so? Because Cavour said that yes, we captured Lombardy and we are on the verge to capture Venetia. We are on the verge to capture. Just imagine. So now we can continue the battle and captured Venetia and end of the problem. It was a Cavour's view. But Victor Emmanuel realizes that alone they cannot win against Austria because Austria is still a powerful country and you cannot defeat Austria at all cost. Clear? So as he was a king, he was a firm, he retreated from that war and that made Cavour angry. Even Kaur resigned from his office. Kaur gave resignation because of that. But Victor Emmanuel was firm, and he knew that Kaur was angry for some time, but once he realizes that it's a need of time, he is going to agree with that. With the France retreat from the war, that forces Sardinia to sign the treaty, and that treaty is basically the word peace. Peace of Villafranca. And what's the arrangement in that? Of course, the promise fulfilled. Nice and Savoy given to France. Austria retains Venetia, and Sardinia got a Lombardy. Clear? Sardinia got Lombardy. Because of peace of Villafranca, two people highly disappointed. One was basically Kaur, we already mentioned that, and another person was Garibaldi. Garibaldi, a very brief introduction to Garibaldi is like that. Garibaldi is one of the member of Young Italy movement. He was one of the member of Young Italy movement. He took participation in Revolution Third and Second, that is 1830-1848. Along with that, due to the suppression, he left Italian peninsula and settled in American continent. But once the situation ripened, he again came back and settled near Sicily. His army used to wear red shirt, so his army popularly known as Red Shirt Army. Red Shirt Army. Clear? And why Garibaldi was angry? Kaur, you know that Kaur, why Kaur was angry? Because Nice was a birthplace of Garibaldi. So Garibaldi felt cheated that why you surrendered my birthland. But as you know that Sardinia was not in a position to negotiate anything. Without French help, it was not possible for them to unite Italy. So with the heavy heart, they surrendered their two small territories to get the bigger territory. Clear? So now in 1859, we mention Lombardy became the part of Sardinia. But the issue remains the same. Opponents remains the same. Opponents, that is Austria. Why? Venetia is under Austria. Papal state remains the same, and France remains the enemy. How? Because Naples and Sicily under them. So just imagine, we started in 1796-97 till 1859. Enemy remains the same. Enemy remains the same. Our biggest challenge in front of Italy is to defeat these people and form a nation state. And at the same time, they are not economically powerful. Along with that, they are not militarily powerful as compared to Austria, France. Clear? So that's all for today's lecture. Thank you very much for your valuable time. If you are having any query, any question, you can ask me. I already gave you my Telegram channel address. Yes, thank you very much.